Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about the AMT Hardballer chambered in the Lord's Caliber 45 ACP. So before I begin, I'd like to say a big thank you out to everyone who has liked, commented, and or subscribed on the previous videos. I always appreciate it and always enjoyed talking to you guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you enjoy this video and enjoy this type of content, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. And with the PR out the way, let's get into it. So, for those of you guys that have been watching my channel and subscribed, which you should be. If you're not, please do. But for any amount of time, you guys will know that my collection and just my interest in firearms is pretty much around two different areas. One is the mechanical engineering aspect of it. I just love the function of a gun and just how it's essentially a Rube Goldberg machine in my mind, to have all these different functions and things occur just to send one freedom seed downrange. And just how that all works and how different people come up with a different idea to achieve that goal. Like the Chris Vector, who the heck would have thought of that, you know? And that's just something I find fascinating with all types of guns, like bullpups, all that fun stuff. Second part is the prevalence in TVs and video games. TV, movies, and video games, I should say. And just how they are have become a status symbol and icon, so on and so forth. Pick your poison. And for those of you guys that are the uninitiated and don't know, the AMT Hardballer was featured in two different main sources. One was in the Terminator. It was the long slide version, not this one, but still, the AMT. And two, I shouldn't even have to say it. You guys should know already. The Hitman series, Hitman movies, the Hitman games. They are called these the Silver Ballers. Now, that I think is just cool as heck. And to have one of these guns, you can of course live out your big boy fantasy, throw a suppressor on here. Why else do you think it's threaded? One of the only threaded 1911s I have for that reason. And with that pretty much being said, let's kind of get into it a bit about AMT's history and so on and so forth. Kind of an all-inclusive video here. So the AMT, which stands for Acadia Machine and Tool, which you can see here. Made in Acadia, California, stainless, made in USA. The AMT Hardballer was the first ever full stainless steel 1911 to come to market. This particular variation, it's very hard to tell specific dates, but based on the serial numbers, I'm looking at like late 1980s. Definitely not 1990s, but late 1980s. Don't know exact year, but definitely the later half. So 1985, 1989 is when this particular one was made, which was one of the earlier years. And around that time frame, all 1911s that were coming out were pretty much blued, just steel. There really was no stainless steel option. It really was more of an exotic kind of thing to do. And of course, Colt was the primary manufacturer of 1911s at the time. So when AMT came on, they said, hey, we're going to make a stainless steel 1911, and definitely looked cool, definitely should function well, and definitely should offer a bit more corrosion resistance. Now, when they first brought it, they were met with, of course, the initial manufacturing plagues, one of which is that the hardness between the slide and the frame was too similar to where they would get galling issues. Galling is essentially when the the slide or the frame or so on and so forth, one part is essentially digging into and creating score marks and wearing into the other and basically creating a looser fit to where eventually the gun will fail. I've seen different, old internet links, way back in the days. We're talking about like AOL Messenger days, that some people even had it as bad to where the slide would actually jump the rail and come off the gun. That's how bad it got worn down, or sometimes they would go right through and they try to take off the slide and the frame actually would just break, shear right off. So that was the very earlier models. That was like their first 1,000 or so. Pretty much anything right about after that was solved. That still doesn't mean it can't happen, but that should not deter you from this gun, because it being an old gun, it does have certain charm to it that the current modern guns don't have. I have my Taurus PT 1911, but when you put that compared to this, they really are different. They do function, but just something about this old school American steel just rings a little different. Who knows? I might be putting something to it that ain't there, but that's how I see it. So, that's pretty much AMT in kind of a nutshell. They went through different iterations. They went to I think it was IO Incorporated. I'm pretty sure, to where they were going through bankruptcy and they got bought out. And essentially, if you are looking for one of these, get the first generation. Do not get anything that's like the older ones. If you can find it with the brown grips, which this originally came with, swapped it out for the ones that I like Terminator style and Hitman style. The brown grips, almost surely that is a first generation gun, so it's going to be of better quality. Now, don't get it too early though, so like that first 1,000 serial number, stay away from, just for the galling issues. So probably saying, man, for all these different types of issues and plagues and kind of just working with an old gun, you must really want it. Yeah, because it's not a piece of Americana, but you guys know what I mean. It's a piece of it's a piece of multicultural thing that's just nice to have. So this, though, did not come standard, of course, being a 2021 right here, 19, you might as well say a 30-year-old gun. It definitely needed an overhaul when I got it, and had it for just a little bit here. First thing, safe, of course, and we're all good to go. So the slide release and the safety and the hammer and the magazine release are all not the original. All the originals were fine, but I wanted some extended options because it came with mil spec. And they function fine, but they definitely left a bit to be desired. Of course, when getting this and doing that, guys, I probably put about close to 10 hours of fit and finishing into this gun to get it up to snuff. Every single spring in the entirety of the thing was replaced, which I would highly recommend you do if you do get one of these or any kind of older 1911, because they are more of a maintenance gun. These ain't a Glock to where you just drop it in, it fits in, it's good to go. These guns do require hand fitting, they do require maintenance. This gun is more like I'm going to say that this is more like the high-end Italian kind of car. It works when it works, but you do have to take care of it and do have to take a little bit of extra steps to keep it up to snuff. And with that, like I said, the fit and finish of this gun, it is a standard 1911 pattern. However, every 1911 is going to require some finishing, so I had to like grind down, different internal parts of the safety and even the slide release, and get the magazine to work and drop free and yada yada yada. Like the barrel, had to custom Dremel out and fit the barrel, because barrels especially are not drop in. I did not I went into this project hoping that I wouldn't have to, but I knew that it was a possibility. It honestly wasn't that hard. It's very time consuming, labor intensive, and you can always take more metal off, but you can't put it back on. So you have to get that very fine line right to the edge, and we're talking like dealing with an almost 1,000th of an inch in some parts, especially with this safety with the sear. If you go too much, then it won't engage, but if you go too little, then it was stiff. Like this was taking 2 hands to do. So now it's actually functioning just right with the just right amount of pressure. Same thing with the slide release. So it's pretty much the AMT side of it. And again, you may be saying this is not a standard stock gun anymore. This is now no longer an AMT. This is a Wilson Combat, which everything you see, except for the barrel. The barrel is actually a Kimber barrel. This is a Wilson Combat, springs and, actually it's springs, pins, safety, slide release. The hammer is a Fusion Firearms hammer, and the magazine release is a Fusion Firearms. I took off the extended button just for the moment, just kind of keep it stock a little bit, but it does screw in and have like a little bit of a teardrop that goes back. So that is that's the gun overall in a nutshell. Suppressed, it does shoot fantastic. You're really surprised, because again, 1911s ain't really a thing that people really get, because they're very hard to do, because you either buy like a SIG 1911 Tac Ops that has a threaded barrel, or people just don't put them on there because you have to pay gunsmith, or you have to do it yourself, and you mess it up, you lose your barrel. But this Kimber has functioned fantastically. Fantastically? Yeah. We're going with that word of the day. And it has fit perfect in this gun. It has the same witness hole for a loaded chamber that the original barrel came with. And the gun, as you see here, it just works. And when you first got it, you noticed that it was kind of sluggish. It's kind of, got hung up, and now it's, you can even hear it has a very solid click. So I got that barrel just in there, right? No kind of pressure. The trigger is flat as anything. Just a little tiny bit of take up right there. You're at the wall. You can see the break. Reset. and you're right back at it. Like there is nothing that you couldn't want on this gun. Of course, being all Wilson Combat, I was expecting nothing else. So this is essentially my AMT Hardballer. It is nice to have the mag that says AMT Hardballer on it. And just kind of why I got it, just kind of showing you guys. And if you can find them, great. I'd highly recommend getting them. The street price you're looking about one of these at the time of this filming this video, about $700-800 for a fairly good condition one. For a pristine condition, you're looking for $1,000. For a long slide variation, which is the Terminator one, you're looking at about $1,200-1,300, sometimes even more. For a crap configuration one, I've seen them like on guns.com for like $500-600. Now those, buy those if you want to really overhaul it and kind of just keep like the heart of the gun the same, but redo everything. Like if you want to, you know, take off the AMT Hardballer and put like the Hitman logo and redo every single thing, then I'd recommend doing that if you're going down that route. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. And if you have any other questions, comments, anything like that, let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. Again, this is it's not a sentimental piece, but it's it's a piece that I thoroughly enjoy and could give you guys some information if you're looking for one. So see you guys and catch you next time.